Welcome back to Pass the Torch, Legacies in Jewelry. My name is Naja, and I am beaming today because we have Katerina Perez on the podcast. I know we have a lot of new listeners here. I want to welcome everybody. I am a young bench jeweler, and I created this podcast to have really meaningful conversations with the world's most renowned artisan jewelers and industry professionals. I wanted to have them help me vision cast for how to show up in this industry and how to be meaningful and impactful. And Katerina is just an authority in the industry. She has such a prominent voice and she's so well respected. Everyone who gets to work with her, it was always in the back of my mind that hopefully one day I could get her onto this podcast. And lo and behold, at the AGTA Spectrum Awards dinner, I got to sit next to her and have dinner with her. And she was just as elegant and lovely in person as she is online. And so it gave me the opportunity to introduce myself and mention to her, hey, would you like to come be a part of this project that I'm working on? And her immediate response was just an adamant yes. And that made me feel so good and so seen. And I'm just honored. Truly, I'm honored that she's on today. So I am so excited for you guys to get to know her a little bit better and her story and what she offers. Let's just get into it. Without further ado, here's Katerina Perez. A brief word from our sponsors. Pepe Tools wants to support all of the jewelers tuning into this podcast, Pass the Torch, Legacies in Jewelry, both new and experienced. It's amazing how quickly your work can elevate with the right equipment. Pepe Tools has been a part of the coolest jewelry studios for the last 40 years. Innovative engineering, designed, tested, and made right here in the United States. You need gear that's as serious as your craft. Experience the Pepe Tools difference yourself. Head over to pepetools.com and use code USA10 to grab a discount. That's Pepe Tools, innovative tools made for makers. Katerina Perez, welcome to Pass the Torch. I am so excited to have you here.
Me too. Let's do it.
I love it. So can you give people a little bit of background on how you even got into the jewelry industry?
Wow. Every time I get asked this question, I go back to me being 3 years old, loving to play with my grandmother's jewelry and unearthing these treasures from her jewelry box, looking at them like it's something so magical and so special. And I guess, these early childhood memories were forever engraved in my memory. And when I went up, to university, to my career, working in different places, I think jewelry was always in the back of my mind. That's why I was working in retail, specifically with jewelry as well, for quite a number of years. So it's been an integral part of my life for a long time, since I remember.
When did writing come into the picture?
Ooh, that was an interesting story. So I was working, as I told you, in retail client facing. And of course, when there is new jewelry collection, you want to entice your client to buy it, right? So for me, it was always a pleasure to send out some emails explaining how wonderful the collection is, what's so special about it, like how it stands out from everything else I've seen, and so on and so on. And then I remember several clients were like coming back to me, oh, we love your emails. Like, we love the way you write. And I'm like,
Yeah.
seriously? Like, I'm not a trained writer. I'm not a journalist by education, but I'm one by passion. And that really gave me a boost to like, if people who have no idea who I am or they love my writing, even, genuinely enjoy what I tell them and how I tell it, let me try to be a writer. So I started writing for a very small magazine then in London, and I was editing the jewelry section. And the magazine was coming out only, I believe, like 4 times a year. So imagine how much information I was absorbing and going through, and a magazine came out only 4 times a year. It wasn't enough for me to express my love for jewelry and to really showcase the wealth of designs and beauty out there. So that's what gave me a boost to create my own website. So one day I'm like, I need to speak to the world out there. I have to go online because this is the way to talk to the whole world. And there you go. The rest is history.
Yeah. Well, you have such a multicultural background. You are originally from Russia, and then you were in London, and now you live in Paris. Can you talk about how jewelry differs in different parts of the world? Because now you also travel the world to go see jewelry, and how the different cultural influences have on the pieces that are made.
That's actually, for me, one of my favorite things to understand culture through jewelry, because I believe I must have visited about 30 different countries now, thanks to what I do. And it's interesting to see how, for example, in America, you love big, bold, and beautiful designs, big diamonds, stacking everything, layering, and so on. So it's a very strong, powerful look. And I feel that in America, you also, this is the part I like, you also enjoy whimsical, humorous, quirky jewelry, which helps designers to express their personality and bring something interesting and unusual to the table. When we go to, for example, Middle East, it's more refined. It's more kind of, the colors will be different. They love nice colors, like very strong, bold colors. In the Middle East, they love a lot also opaque stones, which you don't see so much in other places. We travel to Asia. They prefer to have smaller sizes of jewelry and of stones, but the stone has to be like top quality. They'd go for a ruby, which is, I don't know, 1 carat, but it will be Burmese and heat, super quality, super gem, rather than a 5 carat, and the color will be a little bit off and so on. In Russia, where I'm from, we love jewelry. It's an integral part of our fashion style. A lady has to look complete with her necklace or earrings, and we love to wear gold. And equally, we enjoy design. So that's why maybe it's my background, cultural background, but also the fact that I come from a family of artists that made me look at jewelry as not just adornment, but a form of art. And that's why also I focus on jewelry design. Like, you show me a big solitaire, yes, I love it, but it won't get me as excited as a jewel that was created by somebody with an interesting design element, with maybe unusual materials and beautiful colors, and so on and so on.
Man, you're speaking to my heart because I feel the exact same way, and I also was raised by a family of artists. Can you talk a little bit about how that helped your framework develop as just someone who values art?
I think it helped me to really form my taste from early age. I believe that I do have taste in jewelry, and I mean, my audience tells me that, at least. And it comes naturally. So thanks to all the masterpieces that I've seen through my mom's work, she's a restorer of paintings. She's restored paintings that we see in museums. Thanks to that, it helped me to form the understanding of color balance, right? Or composition, because when you see magnificent paintings, everything has to be in the right place. It helped me understand art in general, what it represents. And when I see high-end jewelry and I understand how much time goes into creation of each piece and research, and uh, all the elements come together, this is truly an art piece, and it has to be appreciated and enjoyed the same as a painting in a museum.
Yeah. So I've been following your page and your platform for many, many years since I just started into the jewelry industry 6 years ago or so.
Oh,
For
wow.
someone who's just now discovering you,
Hmm.
how would you describe what you do to them?
I would like to believe that I'm a tastemaker. I help to curate the finest collection of jewelry out there, which is focused on color, gemstones, and design. I would love to be the guide. I would love to believe that I'm a guide for everyone who loves jewelry into the world of jewelry, because I have lots of insightful information. I've been in this industry for 15 years now, and so many doors opened for me. And I'm blessed to be able to go behind the scenes and to learn from so many people out there, let it be gem dealers, bench jewelers like yourself, designers, industry leaders. So I'm like this a jewelry box of knowledge, which I love to share on my Instagram, on my website, with everyone out there who are hungry for this knowledge as well.
Well, and something else that I think you have really developed, not only are you so knowledgeable, but what stands out to me is your ability for storytelling. You're such
Mhm.
a good storyteller with the jewels that you're interacting with. Can you talk to me about how that was a skill that you developed as well?
I think it's not really, I don't consider it a skill. It's just, again, it's something that's coming naturally, because for me, um, jewelry has to have not just the look, but also substance. So I always look for interesting stories, let it be a story behind creation of the jewel, the story of the person, how they came up with the idea, the story of the jeweler themselves, how they became one. There is so much interesting facts and information out there. And also, again, this is my cultural background. In Russia, we are brought up with curiosity. We're always encouraged to learn. For me, I can never satisfy my passion and my thirst for knowing more. So no matter how many years I'm in this industry, no matter how many people I've met and how many courses I've done, how many books I've read, I feel like it's never enough. Like I don't know it all. Like I don't know enough. I want to learn more. And I'm so happy this industry has so much to offer. Even after 15 years, there is still plenty of designers I want to still meet. And there is plenty of knowledge out there to get my hands on.
Right. Well, just being in your presence, I'm immediately intrigued because you can feel how excited you are every day about what you do. And I think it's because you're really tapped into the ethos of the art form.
Mm.
You mentioned, and you've been quoted in the past saying that jewelry is also not just adornment, but truly art. What qualities or emotional responses do you look for that make a piece truly art in your eyes?
Mm. Yes, it wouldn't be right to say that each piece of jewelry is a form of art, for sure not. But the ones that were created, for me, it has to be a unique piece. To be truly artistic, mostly it will be something that came from the heart and soul of the designer, which was created with special attention to detail, meaning that it's not just beautiful on the facade, but also the back part of the piece is taken care of with the, I don't know, this gold work or maybe even diamond settings. Or it has to look perfect from every angle you look at it. It has to, of course, have maybe an exclusive, high quality, beautiful gemstone, even if it's not an investment grade gem. It still has to be one that looks beautiful in the whole design, right? We're talking here about the right color combination, the balance in the design. Because sometimes, sometimes I can see a butterfly, right? Like I'm wearing one. So here the balance and the proportions are perfect, right? It looks very natural, like a real butterfly. Sometimes I see butterflies that are ugly because the body is humongous, the wings are small, or maybe the colors are off, maybe the contrast of colors, like the colors just don't go. So it has to be artistically beautiful from the point of view of artistic practices, right? Because for me, jewelry is sometimes like painting with gemstones on a canvas, which is gold. So I don't know, for me, these two things are inseparable.
Well, and now you've often been on a lot of judges' panels for different competitions. And a lot of those competitions, you're looking at balance, technique, and general craftsmanship. How do you approach judging a piece and also considering the creative vision?
Well, it a lot comes from within, because for me, since I have so many years of practice and since I've seen, I don't even know how many thousands of pieces of jewelry, I can quickly understand the complexity of the design, the nuances of manufacturing, what's wrong, what's right, is it original, does it feature some unique detail, and so on, so on. So, it all comes with practice. Like with every profession, judging and understanding the quality of what you're looking at comes with the years of experience. And I guess also the reason why I get invited a lot to be in judge, because I have a global view. So I don't specialize only in one market, because I travel so much and because I see so many designs and I know so many people out there. It really helps to understand the differences in the design and the approach to jewelry making, in the finish of the piece, and so on, so on. So yeah, I guess it's this global view and quick understanding of what's good.
It's amazing. Even with the global view, you also have all of these years that you've spent getting to know these pieces and these artists. What have you noticed that has changed the most over the years?
I would say self-expression, and I love it. I love it that nowadays jewelries are more free to actually not be very conservative in their designs and not to consider piece of jewelry as something you'd wear for a red carpet or special occasion for birthday. Nowadays, it's a lot about, as I told you before, right, creating whimsical, humorous, fun, trendy designs, two-finger rings, ear cuffs, I don't know, palm bracelets, and so on and so on, to really inspire, surprise, put a smile on people's faces. We wear jewelry a lot for self-expression too, right? We don't only put a piece of jewelry when we go out to a gala dinner. We want to wear it every day, like you're wearing your lovely pendant. It's a part that completes your look, that makes you feel special, that puts a smile on your face. And I always say, why do we have to wait for that one occasion to smile? Like, if I can put my favorite piece of jewelry and feel amazing every day. So I think lots of women recognize it. And not just that, one big change since we're talking about development of the jewelry industry is that if we go back 10, 15 years ago, and look at catwalks of big maisons, did we see jewelry? Not at all. Now, look at Chanel, look at Dior, look at Louis Vuitton. They all have jewelry as a part of the look because it is like, maybe you've heard me saying this before and I'll never stop saying that. For me, jewelry is like when you do your makeup, lipstick, right? It's the last thing we put on, but we don't look good enough without it. We look incomplete. It's the same jewelry and your outfit. Without jewelry, it just looks a little bit incomplete. It's like cherry on top, the last touch, the finishing woof to make you feel great and look great. So,
Yeah.
and I think also it's important to mention fashion fine jewelry. Again, if we go back 15 years ago, who would have thought that you can wear precious jewelry every day, that it will be downscaled, that it will be more elaborate in the design and better in terms of pricing. So this is a great type of jewelry, like the whole, it has its own place, fashion fine jewelry, where we can afford a lovely design, which wouldn't cost an arm and a leg, which looks beautiful and made also with precious materials.
I love that you said you love when jewelry surprises you. I think that that's such a fantastic description for that like natural response that we have when we're just drawn in. Is there any particular piece that immediately comes to mind when you think, "Oh,
Well,
that really
let's talk
surprised
about
me?"
this. When I got this earring, it's a solo earring with titanium and zircon. It's quite a substantial piece, you see, so you wear it as a one piece. I'll tell you, even taxi drivers were asking me, what is this, madam? How would like a random taxi driver in London even notice or care? But twice or three times they asked me, oh, man, what is this you're wearing? It's so gorgeous. So jewelry is a conversation starter. It's something that, of course, we wear for our pleasure, but also for pleasure of others, to let them feast their eyes, to let their heart smile when they see something so unusual, right? So, and of course, the sparkle of stones.
You were one of the very first voices to bring high jewelry online. How has that sort of transition of because I think that there was always this assumption that the high jewelry was inaccessible, and
Wow.
you've actually brought it to a large amount of the general public and general consumer that didn't previously have access. How did that seems like such a feat to tackle?
hmm I'll tell you honestly, the only way how I've done it and why I've done it is because I was never trying to prove something to somebody. I was never trying to be an influencer or become somebody. I did become one because I was so much in love in what I was doing. And again, I come back to this word naturally. When I was working in retail, right, I always remember the faces of people who would look through the window and they'd be too scared to go inside the boutique because it's intimidating, right? They might not want to buy anything. They might want just to look. They might want to get inspired, but they would feel the pressure that they need to buy, or they might feel bad that they can't afford it. And that's why they don't want to even come close to it. So I wanted to change that. I wanted genuinely to inspire people and let them see this beauty. If it's through my eyes, okay, at least like that, at least online. And that's why I've done it, to be able to show them the wealth of designs, to the variety of different styles out there, the variety of wearing jewelry, educate them about stones and all the different aspects of gemology and jewelry making. Basically, to be, as I told you before, right, to be their guide into the world of jewelry and to let them feel like, okay, if we don't want to go in the boutique, let's at least look online. Because I truly believe, like, you desire something if you see it. If you don't see the beauty of jewelry and how much of it is out there, how can you desire it and truly want to have it? So I think it all comes from this, um, I would call it my mission, to be like a
Yeah.
matchmaker between the jewel and the owner, right? To make them
Yeah.
meet, fall in love, and live happily ever after. So this is how it started, and this is how it's going. I'm still doing this, and I'm still loving it, and that's a big driving force. You know, when someone finds a jewel on my Instagram, when a lady at an exhibition stops me and say, "Oh, thanks to you, you know, I found this piece. I love it. I wear it all the time." Or a designer tells me like, "Thank you, you know, you showed this on your Instagram. You know, this lady bought and she loves it, and she became a regular client," and so on, so on. These are the stories that the great motivation. You know, this is what it's all about.
Yeah, really connecting designers with
Yeah.
their collectors. That's so special. You did mention your online following. It is a large following. You have really established yourself as a prominent and influential voice in the industry. What responsibility do you feel, and how are you managing that responsibility? In addition to the connection point, but also how you're developing your platform and what you have coming up.
The responsibility is always to bring what people are looking for, right? Beautiful reviews, nicely presented, wonderfully written, to maintain the quality that which I started with and only grow in terms of quality. And I believe that I pay so much attention to the sparkle of the stone, to the true color of the gemstone. I think through how can I present it. I'm very particular about the quality of the picture and the wording, right? They have to come at the same level, and they have to be enticing, beautiful, engaging, any kind of description you can make there in a positive way. So I have to inspire the person to fall in love with the piece I show, and it only comes through the perfect picture. So this is the kind of, I would say it's a constant pressure, right? Because as a woman, you might understand I have to look good, I have to feel good, I have to always have perfect manicure, I have to dress certain way. No matter if I've just, you know, flown 9-10 hours to an exhibition, tomorrow I go there in different time zone, I have to look amazing, I have to bring the energy. And, you know, with the pace of life that I have, I'll tell you, between February and March, I've been, I think, in 6 countries, maybe 7. I've lost count now, and it's not a standard situation, but it's been a lot. And this is not totally unusual. You know, I travel 2, 3 times a month, sometimes for weeks, sometimes for a few days, but in different locations, different destinations, different time zones. So of course, you know, it's a huge pressure to always deliver. Sometimes I travel with my photographer, sometimes on my own. So you have to really keep on with the pace of everything happening at the exhibition or in the private appointments, and so on, so on. Of course, not forget about the family. So somehow
Yeah.
also take care of the family at a distance or in person when you come back. But the biggest, I'd say the biggest responsibility is, of course, to continuously share that content. I share it twice a day, sometimes 3 times a day on Instagram, to constantly look for new ways of showing jewelry, interesting ways, engaging. Instagram loves that word, engaging way. Um, and to not to be too repetitive. I want to surprise my audience. You know, I'm the only one who does, for example, like editorial shoots for even for Instagram, which showcase jewelries in a more artistic, elaborate way. I like to surprise them with the type of jewelry which I find, or the kind of content which I create, not only focused on exhibitions, but also, for example, recently I introduced a new type of content, which is reels more of an interview style, where you can see me speaking about different subjects and expressing myself and sharing my knowledge. Because at some point in the past, I was looking at my Instagram and thinking, well, this is pretty, but where is me really in this, apart from being the model for all the jewelry, right? With all my knowledge and all my experience, I'm more showing than telling. So that's why I tried this new format, and it really worked. People love it, and they appreciate, you know, the views that I share. I help them with some clarity in terms of, you know, gem and jewelry knowledge. And yeah, it's one of my favorite parts of my job, is to really help people with the guidance, you know, what is good, what exists out there. Yeah.
I completely agree. People want to hear from you. Not only do you just have like such a beautiful voice, but the platform of speaking to people. I found that with this podcast is it's one thing to write something and then reiterate it. Yeah, just to hear it from someone's vocal inflection and the body language that they have. You
Right.
don't even know this, but I worked with a team that did a collaboration with you years ago, and the feedback that I got from that team when we sent someone out to meet you at the hotel and then come back was, oh my gosh, that was the most high level luxury experience working with Katerina. She's superwoman. She's got her kid. She's, like she's got her kid that she's juggling and she's doing it with, the photography, and she's just got it on lock. And I think that's why so many people love working with you and respect you so much.
But I'd say, sometimes I get asked, like, what is your secret of success? But I think it's this part where you passionately, truly love something and you can't have enough of it. And I can't hide it. People tell me on my Instagram, oh my God, we can see how much you love it. When they meet me in person, it's not something I do not use my website, my Instagram as a tool to be influencer, to get, I don't know, to become famous or rich or whatever. It was never about that. It's the opposite. Like, it's my tools to share my passion and to connect with others. And I could make a business out of it because, first of all, it's love and it's good emotions, good vibes, and people want more of it. So that's kind of the secret of success, this true passion that comes from within and that people can sense. And like you were saying with the speaking, you can hear like how much I love talking about jewelry, right? And it's not something I can express in words in the written ones. But when you hear the intonation, when you see the mimicry, the gestures and just a smile on the face, right? It says it all.
Absolutely. You're also launching the Katerina Perez Club. Would you like to talk a little bit about what that is and
Yay!
what you're bringing to the table?
So I've been in this industry for 15 years now, and I've been writing on my website and sharing my knowledge on Instagram for 13 years. And a few years back, I looked at what is happening in the jewelry world, and there is so much out there. So how do you know what's good? And how do you know where to go for the valuable information? Where do you go to learn about the industry news? And where do you go to discover all the events that's happening? And to really get your hands on the information which is genuine, authentic, but also quality written and with the correct information, right? Because like with every industry, there is also a lot of misinformation there and lack of knowledge and so on and so on. I've always been known through the industry and with the consumer end as well, those who read me, for my thorough research and my insightful knowledge and for real generous desire to share everything I know. And one day my team was like, Katerina, we spend so much time and effort on writing all these articles, but I think we need to curate more to who can really see them. Right? We need to create a subscription service because you put so much effort and it's only fair that people would give you love back, because for me, it's literally like an exchange of energy. I put so much work in this. So being a member of the club is to give me love back, to
Yeah.
show me we appreciate your work. We love what you do. We want to see more of it. So that's how we created my team and I, Katerina Perez Club, where it's a one-stop, like a platform where you, of course, get access to exclusive articles, which I share. Some of them are public, but others are only private for club members. It's a place where you can log in and learn about different jewelry news in a bite-sized information, because none of us have too much time to hop through websites, read all these lengthy articles to digest what's happening in the world of jewelry out there. So it's literally like a Twitter, but for jewelry news, all in one place. And then that brought another idea. Like, if I want to know the news, of course I want to know the events. Like, for me personally, also to know what exhibitions are out there, I have to go through so many websites and sometimes Instagram and hear from somebody and so on and so on. And I'm like, I want to create this centralized platform to save people time, to let them not have this FOMO feeling. Oh my God, like, what if I miss something? To make sure that they augment their knowledge and they have all in the palm of their hand. So this is what the club is for. And also, because I'm a person, I told you, who loves to read and who is curious about what's happening in the world of jewelry, I've created another section where I recommend what articles to read. Again, to save time to go through 30, 50 websites, the most interesting articles from other platforms are also in a separate section of the club. And of course, it wouldn't be the club without meetings, right? So for now, it's only online meetings, but in the future, there will be some offline ones as well, where we share different knowledge, where we meet industry leaders, where we feel like a community, right? Because club is all about community. So this is it in a nutshell. A go-to platform with all the information you need to know about jewelry in one place, and sharing this passion with your club mates. I don't know how to
Yeah.
say the members, other members.
When you told me about it, the first thought in my head was, "Oh, now I don't have to do that." Like, a part of me entering the jewelry industry and being so new, and I don't have family in it, it's all
Mm.
so I'm just a novice.
Yeah.
Having a calendar with that, like, I see things on Instagram and, like, the In Ortega show. I didn't even know that existed until I saw that you were there.
Mhm.
And discovering through that way and that platform is exciting because then there's also opportunity for running into people that you also hope to be rubbing shoulders with, right?
Exactly.
Like the people who you are inspired by and hope to connect with. And I'll also be joining your platform because it is one of the prerequisites for being able to submit to the Osmium competition, which I hope to do this upcoming year.
Exactly. This is the second year of the Osmium Visionary Contest, which is quite an interesting competition, which I run together with the Osmium Institute, because osmium is the most precious metal on Earth and a very, very rare one. And the challenge here, and this is the reason why I was so excited about this contest, and last year there were so many submissions. So unlike any other metal, it only comes in crystalline form, meaning that it's flat. So it's basically a flat crystalline surface that shines crazy beautifully like a pave of diamonds, even more. And you have to incorporate this in your design. There is no limitation in terms of theme, because it has already limitation in the way you can use it. But the requirement is that osmium obviously has to be very prominent in your design. So that's it. And we're already getting some submissions, lots of interest, and I'm so excited about it. There will be the ceremony to award the winners in Gem Genève. And of course, like last year, there will be prizes with osmium worth of 30,000, 20,000, and 10,000 euros, and 5,000 for the person who will be chosen by the audience. But for me, it was a way to help designers to challenge their creativity, because when you use an unusual material, you start thinking differently, and you start understanding that there are other ways to explore what I can do. And that's what excites me so much, to kind of boost a little bit of creativity out there.
Totally. Well, if anyone is listening and wants to learn more about osmium, just a few months ago, I actually did a podcast with the Institute talking about the breakdown of the crystalline form. Please go back and listen to that. Looking ahead, Katerina, what are you most excited for in this upcoming year? I know you've already had a crazy busy year, but we're only 3 months in. So,
Yeah.
what do you have on dock, and what are you looking forward to?
So of course, a proper big launch of the club. That's going to be the most exciting part of the year. But equally, I'm bringing back my online course. So during the COVID time, I launched How to Sell Jewelry on Instagram course, which was very successful. But obviously, when the pandemic finished, I had to travel again. So I wasn't able to dedicate enough time to it. Now, because there was so much demand, I started doing this in very small groups as a day training. But there is so much demand from across the world now, when I announce those small training groups, that I'm like, okay, I need to prioritize now what people really need. And this was always, again, my passion, to bring to the industry and to the consumer what they want, right? Because I'm like a channel for giving them the answers to their questions. So that's why this is going to be another very exciting part, is relaunching, because I'm rewriting everything. So relaunching the course. Um, and there is another thing which is super exciting, but I can't say yet because I don't want to
That's
tease.
okay. That's okay. I look forward to finding out. You
It's
know,
related to writing, and it's something I've been thinking for many, many years about. So I'll probably announce towards the end of the year.
amazing, amazing. I'm so excited. I'm brand new. here in this industry. Well, kind of. You know, I've been a salesperson. I had a similar start to where you started, but I went the opposite way where I doubled down into now bench work. Do you
Mhm.
have any advice for me just starting out and trying to, you know, develop and grow in different ways in this industry?
I would say what's important for every creative out there to find your own voice and your own style. Because it's normal that maybe in the beginning you learn, you explore, and you try to create something which is more maybe commercial and widely known. But in the end, I always believe that every designer who has their own style and their DNA, they will succeed because there will be not another one like them. They'll be truly unique. And instead of creating a database of clients, they will create a community, a tribe, right? They're collectors who will come to them for who they are, because they won't find a piece like created by the designer anywhere else. I believe also in the power of knowledge. Like myself, I always preach, you never stop learning. You never feel happy enough that I know it all. And by learning, I don't just mean, for example, learning jewelry design or how to set a stone. For you as a potential business owner, you need to learn so many other things, which is, I don't know, even how to do negotiations, how to manage your time, how to be productive. All these things indirectly will affect your business in a way. So it's always about learning and self-development. And I think always it's important to stay true to yourself, not to try to be who you are not. How shall I explain it? If you feel that you want to create only with silver and precious stones and it's not a traditional composition of materials, just because someone tells you, oh, don't do it, no one does this, you don't stop. You do what you feel is right, and then you will attract the like-minded people, and you will have that close circle of those who really appreciate what you do. So it's so much easier to be who you are than trying to create a persona and be someone who you're not.
For a young designer who is building their brand, say a few years ahead of me, and they have their production in order and they have their business up and running, how does someone get on your radar? How do they propose their jewelry to you and your channel?
I'm more accessible than you think, because of course lots of people think, oh my gosh, I have so many followers, like she doesn't even read her DMs. But it's my account, it's my passion, it's my way of talking to the world of jewelry and to creatives like yourself. So you can just DM me. It's me who replies to comments, it's me who replies to my DMs, because I don't know, it's the tool that I love.
Yeah.
So if you have some ideas and you want to present your jewelry, just send me a message. Um, yeah, and I'll be very happy to converse. And even if it's not something I can help with, or it's not something which is of the style that I feature, I'm always happy to just talk about jewelry and to, get to know another person who is passionate like me about gems.
Yeah. I've got a fun question for you.
Yeah,
If you could own any piece of jewelry from history, any era, any designer, what would it be and why?
there's two actually. And again, I say that we don't always choose jewelry. Sometimes jewelry chooses us, meaning that we can't always explain why we like this or that piece of jewelry. Sometimes we just put it on, like we have to have it. I'm sure you experienced that. And I'm sure our listeners definitely had that experience. So for me, it would be one piece would be Belperon pair of earrings, which I've seen at Tefaf many years back, and I still remember, maybe like 7 years ago. There were kind of ear cuffs that would go on the edge of your ear. They were made very simple design out of white gold and diamonds, pave of diamonds. But the way they sat on the ear, like I have to show you a picture. I don't know how to explain it, but it's just a small ear cuff that goes a little bit on the top of the ear. But I felt like for that time, it was such a revolutionary design, so unusual, and already so trendy. Like I would wear it now, people wouldn't even think it's vintage or that it was created years back. And it's so original. I haven't seen anything like that. And the second piece will be a ring by Salvador Dali. So he is one of the artists I admire. Because he also broke the boundaries of what's a norm, and he was very self-expressive, and he proposed something very new and very cool to the audience. And he used to work with the jeweler from America who would create some pieces for him. So Salvador Dali created it's an angel's wings ring, which is like two angel wings crossing. And some of those designs come with diamonds and others don't. For me, I wanted this ring for so long because it's more, it's not about design, but it's more about wearing a part of history on your finger. And it's a way of connecting with someone who you admire, who you can never meet, but at least you can touch a little bit the piece that he held in his hand and feel the connection like that. You know, jewelry is a lot about emotions. It's a lot about these hidden messages and meanings and connections. And, you know, we often wear something not to adorn ourselves, but simply as a reminder of a beautiful event in our life or a person. So for me, it would be a sentimental piece, which I would love to own.
That happened to me. My grandmother gave me a ring, and I always felt like I was carrying her with me when I wore it, and so I still wear it to this day. Do you
Exactly.
have anything like that?
Oh, I have the whole box of my grandmother's jewelry. So when she passed away, I went back to Russia, and I went to her home, and I found that jewelry box which I would play with when I was little in the very same place. And I brought it back, and it's with me. So sorry, it's emotional. But it's like a time travel for me, you know? It's a way, again, to connect with someone who is not there. It's a way to, you know, feel her presence. And, you know, thanks to her, I'm here. Because if I guess, like, if she didn't inspire me at the time with all these little wonders which I could try on and wear and feel, I probably wouldn't even be here. You know, and imagine in kids' eyes, she didn't have precious jewelry. It wasn't diamonds and emeralds, you know, it was aventurine or amethyst, and it was also silver with some crystals. But, you know, in kids' eyes, whatever sparkles, it's true treasure. So, and you know what? I'm still doing what I was doing then. You know, my job, another reason why I love it so much, it's like I continue where I've started because I used to try all this jewelry on. It was my favorite pastime. And what do I do now? Exactly the same thing. It's just that it's not just for me anymore, but it's for everyone out there to see, to love jewelry, to kind of feel it through the way I show it to them, and to feel the same love for jewelry and the same wonder. You know, when I see it, I believe many of them feel it too.
Katerina, you're such a beautiful person and you're such a beautiful light in our industry. I was so grateful to meet you. I actually want to thank Robin Callahan publicly for making the introduction. That's one of the most important, valuable things when you're someone who doesn't have the connections, is someone being willing to put themselves out there and advocate for you and risk for you. And so that introduction led to this interview, and I'm really grateful.
I want to thank Robin too, because it was a great surprise, you know?
It's so wonderful. And just I'm so excited to see what continues to come out of your platform, what you and your team put together. I think that with the advancement of the industry at large, with all the things and the manufacturing that's changing, having someone who has a critical voice and is able to look at this jewelry from multiple perspectives, like you said, like the back of it, and are these things refined, and talking about that refinement is just so needed.
For sure. Look, I'm a person who, also being Russian, I always speak what's on my mind, you know? I don't put the extra layer of frills on it. So if there is something about the piece which is not right, I mean, I don't try to impose my impression of what I'm seeing, but often people ask, and if something is not right, I prefer to honestly say it and to help them, you know, improve what they have. And I always appreciate when people do it to me. Then just to say, oh, it's so pretty, and I know the polishing is awful, or you know, the stones, the colors don't go at all, or the proportions are wrong. You know, it's always better to help others to understand, you know, how they can improve what they already have.
Well, I think feedback is and you know, having criticism is a underappreciated point of growth, and having being able to receive feedback is a
Exactly.
skill as well. Is there any little tidbit of piece of advice, saying, or anything else that you would like to leave our audience with today?
Oh, I think it's a broad one, but like, never stop dreaming, you know. And if you have a vision in your mind, no matter how many people will tell you, oh, it's not going to work, before you try many times, you cannot give up. You know, like, I'm the living breathing truth of that. Because of course in the beginning of my journey it wasn't all so smooth and so lovely, and my recognition didn't come fast. In the beginning, for first few years I had to search my voice. I have to prove myself that I'm worth something, because for me, unfortunately, I started at the time when jewelry writing online didn't even exist really. So when people would hear, when a brand or designer would hear, oh, I do Instagram and I write on the website, they were like, what is this? So because I loved it so much and I persevered my dream, and I continued to do what I do because I wanted this to happen. After several years, the situation have changed, and now I'm in a completely different level of recognition. But I believe for everybody, you have to go through some hardships to really appreciate your prize in the end. So don't give up. Just don't give up. It's normal. I've met so many successful people who had to go through a very hard path in the beginning. If they give up then, they wouldn't be where they are now. So, and I think when the times are tough, we have to speak up, and we have to look for help, and we have to look for mentorship. And I love this part of my, I don't even call it work, I love this part of my journey in the jewelry world, that many young designers come for advice, and whatever I can share, I'm always happy. Let it be a quick DM or a voice message on WhatsApp, or give them quick feedback about design or something like this, because sometimes the small gesture, or even sometimes liking someone's picture, makes them so excited. And the small gesture I can do leads to such an amazing boost of self-confidence, just having a good day, inspiration for the future, and motivation to continue. And that's the most rewarding part of my work.
Where can people find you?
Katerina_Perez on Instagram. I'm there all the time. I'm obsessed. So come and say hi.
I love it. I love it. And for your website?
Oh, for sure. KaterinaPerez.com. It's more, you can contact me by email as well, but DM is the easiest and the fastest and the most efficient way.
I love it.
And
Katerina,
of course, since we're talking to everybody, I would love for everyone who's listening to this podcast to become my club member and read my exclusive articles, and save your time on looking for news, looking for events, and come to more online talks that I do.
yeah, that calendar is a gold mine. That calendar is going to be my reference point for the next several years. So thank you for that. Katerina, thank you.
Fantastic. Thank you all for listening. I loved our conversation, and I wish everyone a wonderful day.
Awesome. Thank you for your time. You've been a blessing.
Bye.
Thank you so much for listening to this episode. This is a highlight of my entire quote unquote podcast career, if you will. Katerina is just someone that I admire, look up to, aspire to be like. She is a well-rounded, thoughtful, artistic woman, and I am a little bit honestly lost for words, because I respect her so much, and it's a really big joy it's a very palatable joy to have had her on today. So thank you, Katerina, for your time. And as she mentioned, go join her club. It's absolutely an asset and a resource. My name is Nadja Dessa Van Diest. I make these podcasts to talk to the most renowned artisan jewelers and industry professionals in the world. It's a place to come to where we vision cast and talk about how the industry is developing and the creative works that people are putting out there. It's a very, very sacred place for me. I would genuinely create this podcast if no one even listened to it, but I'm glad that people do. So thank you again for your time and tuning in. I hope to see you next week on the next episode.